Sir Harkishore sir, you are presenter now.
Okay.
Yes, sir. So we are welcoming you on behalf of KL University, sir. Please give your
Yes, sir.
lectures. Thank you.
Wonderful. Yes, sir. Thank you. Oh, first of all, it's a great privilege for me to be part of this today's meeting because I never imagined that I will really do the session for my own college. I belong to 1988-92 mechanical batch from KL Koner Lakshmi College of Engineering. Now it is a KL University. Uh, I'm really excited and very happy to be in this meeting today. Thank you once again for giving every one of you who has given me this opportunity or who made it happen. Okay. Um, let me let me step into the small discussion about what the data science is all about. I'm not worried about introducing myself further because I wanted to introduce myself little later after discussing what this data science field can actually bring in change to the whole world. So I'm going to share you the screen. Hope you guys are able to see my screen. Can anyone confirm in the chat window, please?
Yes, sir. It is visible.
Yeah, wonderful. Moving my screen. Hope you. Okay, data science. Today we will just probably the next 1.5 hour time frame. I just wanted to give you the flavor of data science, and also I wanted to make sure everyone whoever will be the part of this discussion will be leaving the room with a complete clarity about what the data science field is all about. This is extremely important because there is so much of confusion and there is so much of misuse of the term data science across India, especially. At least in other countries, they are very clear whenever they say data science, what they mean. Whenever they say artificial intelligence, what they mean. Whenever someone says deep learning, what they mean. Whenever somebody says natural language processing, what they mean. So only in India, we are trying to make the mix of all these things and try to use these terminologies very frequently in various ways. There's nothing wrong. I mean, nowhere the meaning is actually not getting distorted. It is just that people are trying to use these two terms wherever they can, and now it has become a buzzword. Why it is buzzword today? It is buzzword today because Gartner wanted to find out the reason for this buzzword. Is it that the data science is
Sir
not a
Harkishore sir,
yes?
one small request.
Yeah.
Can you increase your volume, sir?
Oh, wonderful.
Maybe participants need more volume. Possible.
No,
No,
from
sir. It is very clear. There and they can increase the volume.
yeah,
Okay.
because I
Thank
am
you.
already 100%.
Yes,
Our
sir.
end, it is very clear.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay.
Continue, sir. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So the Gartner did a little, I don't know how many of you really know the Gartner. Okay, there are two research firms in the entire IT industry. Predominantly, there are many, there are few more, but two are very popular. One is a Gartner, another one is a Forrester. So these are the two research firms who will be doing the analysis of various technologies across the globe, and then they will try to publish a lot of facts and information, and many papers are published by the various well-known people, things like that. So the Gartner and Forrester, it's something like we will be taking, if something comes from these two research firms, it's like a Bible. So people look into this and say, okay, you know what, this is the guideline which we need to probably adopt. Guideline is always a guideline. Is it that you cannot change the guideline? No, it's not like that. You can always change the guideline. Guideline is basically a kind of a helping stone where we can try to do something. So from the Gartner's perspective, Gartner did a survey with respect to the data science field, which is existing for quite some time now, probably 1920s. It's not that data science is a new term that has come into the picture right now. Yes, data science is a new term from that perspective, but it was called as statistics earlier. It was not a data science. It was not at all a data science. It became data science somewhere in 1996 time frame, where Mr. Jeff Wu, who is one of the famous statistician, made a paper presentation in one of the US presentation, one of the US forums, conference forums, where he made a statement saying that is statistics renamed as a data science? Question mark. From that day onwards, statistics renamed itself as a data science. Having said this, Gartner defined this as it is an intense journey to redefine the comfort smart spaces. Very beautiful term, three-letter word, but it summarizes the whole gist of the knowledge. Comfort smart spaces. You may be having, as a student, you may be thinking, I know the space, I know the living space, I know my home, I know my college, I know my hotel, I know wherever I go. There is a space, it has a, I understand what the meaning of the space. I also understand what you mean by comfort. But what if this smart is coming in between and trying to create a problem, or trying to create some kind of a confusion to the whole terminology? Let us explore this. I'm moving to the next slide. Look into this, the different pictures which are shown to you right now in front of you. There are many people who do lots of shoppings outside, and when they come home, they park the car, and they will be holding all those bottom purchased items that they bought from the store, and they'll be walking towards the door, and they have to dump everything that are there in their hands, and then search out for their keys, open the door and step in, which is a painful task. Is it really painful to us? May not necessarily, right? But we are used to that kind of behavior. Suppose let us assume you are holding the products on your two hands. You just got down from the car, and as you come closer to the house, though the door was completely locked, door automatically opens you. Door automatically opens you. Especially if you are a mom, it will be so much of flexibility for you because you are holding the children on the two sides, and one side you are holding the so many things. The moment door opens, it's like wonderful. You just simply walk in. You simply walk in. When you walk in, automatically, if the lights gets illuminated without you putting on the light, without you switching on the line, it is another wonderful dimension to you, another wonderful comfort to you. Comfort in the sense, it is removing you from dumping the carrying items from your hands and open manually the house door, versus automatically your eyelids are scanned, your face has been scanned by the camera which is fit inside the house. It detects you that you are the right authoritative owner of the house, and it opens the door automatically for you. Scenario is open the door and get inside the house. But the space, the system is behaving smartly. System is doing this activity automatically, which is entitled for the terminology, for the term called smart. That is why it is comfort smart phase. Why? It is creating such a comfort to the person who is coming inside the house, and at the same time, door is getting opened up, automatically lights are on, and I'm in. And once I'm in, door automatically gets locked. That's a beautiful comfort to me in a human being in my life. And anyway, that's my space. That's my house. But my house or my space is behaving smartly. This is entitled for your comfort smart spaces. Now you are here. You are in your what do you call drawing room or in the hall. Okay. You just lie down and you started reading a book. Suddenly you got a doubt. While reading the novel, you wanted to see something, or you got a doubt with respect to the novel or a book or textbook that you are reading. All you do is you simply say, I want to know more about data science. automatically your television gets switched on and it Googles out what you said, and the information will be displayed in a big way with the big letters in front of you with a little more examples. How wonderful it is, right? So that is your second example. You see here, here is a person walking inside. Now here is a lady just in the hall. She's just lying down, reading a textbook, and all the systems around are responding to her commands. Suddenly she realizes that her daughter's birthday is tomorrow. And she wants to send $1,000 to her daughter who is living in the US. So all she has to do is she has to announce saying that please transfer my money, $1,000 from my account to my daughter's account. System automatically identifies your voice as a credential, as your password, as your user ID, and it validates your voice and it logs into your banking account and it automatically transfers the money to your daughter's account, $1,000, and responds back to you with a message, or it may be in the voice manner saying that the money has been transferred. How comfortable it is going to be, right? And the system around you, the ecosystem around you, the system around you, the place around you is responding to your needs, which is entitled for smart. This is the smart place. Now, you are there in the house. You want to control the lighting. I don't want the same constant light continuously there in my house. Rather, I sometimes, when I wanted to have the dinner, I would like to have the dinner in the dim light, because many people love to have the dinner during the dim light. That's the reason they go for the various restaurants, especially the full moon line night restaurants are available in Hyderabad, where you can go and have a dinner over there. It is a wonderful experience for you. Same thing you can mimic at your home by controlling the light intensity of your house lights, your home lights. On top of that, you can control your air conditioning through your mobile or through your voice. Through the mobile, you can control all that stuff. That is another beautiful thing. You see here, this is your garden is illuminated with the different lights. Now, every time I don't want the same wall will be displayed in my house. Every hour or every day I want my color of the wall to be changed. Yes, absolutely possible. You can do that. That's the beauty of data science. And there are many places where nowadays people started implementing this in their houses. You are a great nature lover, and by mistake, you forgot to really water your plant and you ran to your office. From your office, you can switch on your sprinklers, and sprinklers can actually water your plants, and they will decide themselves whether the plants require more water, or if the water doesn't require more water, automatically sprinklers are going to shut down. Many people wants to illuminate the house at the 6 o'clock in the evening, because 6 p.m. if you really lit a lamp in your house, there is a myth or there is a belief in the human system, in the Hindu system, that the goddess Lakshmi will walk into your house. Yes, you can do that from your office. From your office, using the mobile, you can switch on the lights at your home. There are innumerous advantages or innumerous applications that you need to look at it to enable the space that is there around you to behave smartly. So the data science is an intense journey toward this comfort smart spaces. To put it in a nutshell, system wants to make us stupid, lazy guys, lazy buggers. But for what? For comfort, for building up the comfort in the human living. One side is the comfort, another side is there is a technology evolution. There is a huge amount of technology evolution is happening because of the data science. Because of such factors, everywhere nowadays in the world, this term data science has become the buzzword. when the data science becomes the buzzword, naturally, the system, the space around you, which is behaving smartly, need to have some intelligence, right? That intelligence is again coming from a non-living beings. They're all machines or they're all devices. They doesn't have any living, there doesn't have any prana. So in order to make these non-pranic things behaving like the way the prana is expecting it to behave, that intelligence you are terming it as artificial intelligence, AI, artificial intelligence, meaning you are making something behave with some kind of intelligence. How that intelligence has been built? The intelligence has been built from the data. How do you learn? Right from the day one when you born in this world, your mind doesn't know anything about. Over a period of time, as you grow up, slowly you start learning things step by step, step by step, step by step, step by step, day by day, day by day, day by day, you learn things. And whatever you are learning, that those things will be stored in your brain as a picture. And for every picture, mind associate with some words. That's how the human learning happens. Similarly, the devices around you will be learning from the data. That means the devices which are having its own algorithm, they learn from the data, and based on this data, whenever the situation occurs to them, they behave automatically, they respond automatically with certain intelligence. That is called your data science. Hence, Gartner beautifully summarized this into comfort smart spaces, a journey towards the comfort smart space. And why I added one more extra statement, intense journey. You see here, I said intense journey to redefine. Why intense journey? Why intense journey? Because this is the subject which you cannot learn just like Java or C or C++ or .NET or whatever it is. Today, you are using the Windows operating system. Tomorrow, somebody may come and say, why Windows? Why can't doors? It may come, it may happen. That's not a big deal. And it is very easy to learn the technical languages. All you need to know is, if you know the C programming language, I can guarantee you know the entire computer science. Any language you step into, the syntax may change, and the way things will interact with other parts or other layers or other systems will differ. But the basic concepts remain same. So I coded in 29 languages in my career. It doesn't matter. Hardly, it took about 1.5 months for me to learn the C programming. After that, I never learned any language more than 4 days, including Java. Java, in fact, that took 4 days for me. That is the longest day that it took for me to really learn Java and start coding. It won't take much time. But data science is not like that. Data science is something, it has to, you will be able to only shine provided if you know the mathematical interpretation of each and every equation that you have studied in your 6th class to the +2. It doesn't need any great science or great equations to solve great problems. Maybe yes, to certain levels. But at a bare minimum level, if you really understand the mathematics and the physical interpretation of your understanding of the statistics, that is the key element in the data science. It is not about your R programming. It is not about your Python programming. It is not about your Scala programming, right? It is about how are you able to understand the data that is sitting in front of you or seeing in front of you. How do you correlate this data with respect to the various dimensions is very important aspect. So that is something which decides everything in the data science, because of which different people started teaching this subject in a different way, because the interpretation of the data is done in a different way by different people. So there is so much of variance that you see for every same topic or same subject. people will have different versions or different meanings attached to that. So this actually created some kind of a confusion to the people that resulted to really make different videos across. And you will go walk into the YouTube, you will find n number of videos. You log into the Coursera, you will find another n number of videos. You go to Udemy courses, again a different set of videos and different set of, why is that? If as a student, if I really look at it, I'm really confused where to start. And is it the right thing for me to really understand and move forward? Or is it something that is a slightly different? Or is it that something I'm missing where I am not able to connect the dots in between all this information that is available right now? That's the biggest confusion that people have. With this confusion, many people started offering different types of courses across the globe, doing their own level of best in their own way. Nothing wrong about it. But as a whole, this particular topic or this particular subject, data science, is really evolving and taking you to the next level, which is really going to be very, very scary in next 5 years. I just wanted to tell you couple of things, okay, which probably you need to think about it, okay. Go forward in next 5 years. Trust me, my dear guys, you will not find any bank. Many bankers are going to lose the jobs. Manless banking is going to be the buzzword. Many bankers are going to lose the job. Trust me. Second point, you will not find hospitals. Many hospitals will disappear from the streets. Many hospitals. You will only find the surgical centers where you will be simply walk in and you can lie down over there. And a professor sitting in China or a professor sitting in Switzerland or maybe US or maybe Russia will try to instruct your robots who will do the surgery on your body. And you are lying down in Hyderabad, or you may be lying down in your own native town. Absolutely, this is going to happen. And people will not go to the doctors in next 5 years, from now onwards, because the lot more treatment, given the symptoms that you explain, the algorithms are going to detect what kind of ailment that you are going to have, and it will automatically suggest the terminology of the medicines, and it will send that information to the respective manufacturing company, and the manufacturing company will deliver the medicine straight away to your home. You don't need to go anything, and it won't take more than a day. It's like you buying the things from your medical shop, which is very scary. And the driverless cars, manpower cars, completely operated out of battery systems, because of which 87 Islam countries are going to be impacted tremendously. Because right now they are all surviving because of the crude oil and other stuff, little bit of tourism. Now, in next 5 years, they need to really seriously think about what is their life is going to be, because Tesla is one company which is much ahead in the game, and in this driverless, manless cars or automobile is going to rule over the world. Trust me. And the next important factor is the next richest person in the world after 10 years is going to be the farmer. Farmer is going to be the richest person, because so much of research is happening in the data science and artificial intelligence area, in the agriculture field especially, removing the dependency of the labor. Trust me, and lot amount of discussions are happening, and so many algorithms are actually built about, and even IIT with ICICI Bank and Reserve Bank of India, they have come up with an application which will tell you, if you give the number of the agriculture land of any farmer, it will automatically tell the bank how much is this particular farmer is worth enough to give any loan. Meaning, through the satellite, they are going to scan the whole pictures, last 50 years data, what crop or what yield actually grew up in that particular agriculture land, and it will Accordingly, what was the price in that year for that particular land, it will assess the things and it will give you the value of a farmer. And this application now is almost in the final state. It is going to be released by the ICICI Bank pretty soon. Because how I know, because I was part of one of the discussion panel for them. So this is coming up, they are going to charge only 200 rupees. If you pay 200 rupees, you will be automatically weighing what is the weightage of the farmer and how much loan that you can give it to the farmer. Another thing is, so much of multi-layered, artificial, multi-layered agriculture cropping system is actually coming up very soon. Japan has become tremendously successful in this area. China is much more ahead of us. So from all these standpoints of view, this particular subject, which is going to be a part and parcel of every engineering, whether you are a civil engineer, you are a mechanical engineer, you are electronics engineer, you are electrical engineer, without the data science, you cannot move further. This is the reality. And it is an unfortunate that many people, people think that data science and artificial intelligence, they only belonging to only the computer science, no more. Now civil construction analytics has become such a wonderful topic. In civil engineering, before the house is completed, I wanted to know upfront what is the quality of my house. No more of this masonry coming and building up the constructions and all that stuff. Everything is gone. Now it's all precasted walls and precasted windows and things like that, which are coming into the picture very soon. Already happening, but not at the scale that India is expected to happen. Earlier, it used to take close about 6 to 8 months time to construct a house. Now it is going to take 3 weeks for you to construct the complete house with the complete furniture. Thanks to data science, thanks to the artificial intelligence. It is happening, my dear friends. Today, why I'm giving you all this nonsense introduction is basically to put you the thought-provoking idea in your mind, whichever the stream that you belong to. If you do not know the artificial intelligence and data science, at least if you do not know R or Python programming, you are a handicapped person. Trust me. Having said this, let me introduce myself. I'm very glad to say that I'm a old student of, I'm an alumni of KLC. My full name is Harikishore Akiraju. In the industry, I've been known as Hari Akiraju. Student community knows me as a Kishore. I have close about 24 plus years of IT experience. In that 12 years, I worked with Infosys, and 10 years I worked with Wells Fargo as a vice president and handling about, I was managing about 400 plus software engineers. Then I took a retirement and then I stayed back at home, but many of my friends called up and said, no, you have such a vast knowledge and name any role in the IT industry I played, my dear friends. So you have such a great knowledge, and why do you want to waste the knowledge? Why don't you train the students? So that idea really excited me, because of which I started teaching this particular subject to the various people. And today I'm in front of you because of that. Very passionate in teaching, and I'm a very hands-on guy, though I am 24 plus. I'm not a, oh, you know what, I am so-and-so, I am a CTO of a company, I'm a CIO of a company. I only manage, I only give the direction. I'm not like that guy. I'm a very hands-on guy. A newly joined person, a fresher from the college who comes into my team, I used to go sit with him and start coding with him. So that's why I've been named as Hari is a people leader. So very great fun lover. So that's a small introduction about me. Having said this, I wanted to take you to this slide. You maybe got into this call, apart from the KLU staff, other students, I'm assuming you are all third year and final year students. You are into this probably because of these reasons. It is difficult for me to ask every one of you, please introduce yourself, but rather I would like to tell you why you are into this meeting. You are into this meeting because your intuition told you probably this may help you something. Or somebody might have told you, why don't you join this particular workshop and try to understand what this data science is all about. Some of you, if you are lucky, you may have a well-wisher And those well-wisher might have advised you to get into this meeting or to know something about the data science, hence you are here. Or you may be having a girlfriend, or you may be having a boyfriend, and you both are trying to help each other. So you challenge yourself and then you are into this meeting. Or your enemy might have challenged you, saying that, oh, you learn this data science and show me. A karke dikhao. Might have said that, might have happened to you. Or you simply walked in because today morning you got up and suddenly some advertisement came or somebody sent a link to you. You simply randomly you said, okay, let me join here. You joined here. Or a situation is forced because now there is a suffocation in you in your college. You want to do something in this area. So the situation is you want to know more about it. So that's the reason you might be joined here. Or there is a tremendous confusion to you about this terminology, especially what is the artificial intelligence, what is the deep learning, what is the data science. That might be the reason you are here. There may be few doubts in your mind about you. So that might be the reason you are here. Another reason is you have a doubt whether you will be able to learn this data science in your career. Am I able to learn this? If at all I learn this, can I get a job? Okay, I may be getting a job, but I'm interested in I'm really good at Java. So can I switch over my career from Java full stack developer to maybe the data scientist or a data analyst or a data engineer? That may be the another question that may be coming into your mind. And you may be looking for your upskilling of your skill, or you may be looking for your downskilling of your skill. Either the scenario, end of the day, you are going to have a question in your mind, what should I do? You won't find an answer to this. That might be the reason you got into this call today. Having said this, I really wanted to take you to a slide, okay? This slide, which I wanted to show you. How do we define data science? Let me check with this. Let me look into this part. It is extremely important to know this. At a 36,000 height level, okay, let me pick up my pen, my dear friends. Just give me a minute. Out of this pen, I'm going to pick my black color pen. Okay, out of 36,000 feet distance, I would like to define my data science is like this. What is the data science? Statistics plus programming. This is the very rudimentary, or rather I can say this is a very crude definition of data science. Why? Because data science is a combination of statistics and also the combination of this programming. Programmers they come from a computer science background or IT background or CSC background. Whereas the statisticians, they're all mathematicians. They come from a mathematics background. Statistician or mathematician do not know computer programming, whereas the programmers or the developers do not know the statistics. Because of this problem, this subject could not see the limelight for so many years. If I look into the statistics, if you look into the Indian government, for example, any government in any department or in any company or any college, there is a policy department. The policy department are the people who will define the policies for the college or a company or a country or anything. They have to be the statistician. It is not about through some recommendation somebody got into this. It is about who the statistician can do. I mean, they actually sit and gather the data and analyze the data, and then they will see how many people are going to be impacted because of the data, and hence they decide the policy. So they don't know any programming, whereas the developers do not understand anything about what do you mean by median, what do you mean by mode, statistics. No way, no clue. Maybe I studied during my 10th class or 8th class. After that, I never worked about what is the frequency, what is the median, what is the mode. What is the mean? What is standard deviation? God only knows. I don't even remember. That's how we may think about it. That's the feeling of the developers. So there should be a marriage, there should be a bridge, there should be a connecting bridge or a marriage that can happen. Then only this language, this field is going to really flourish. That marriage alliance is actually fulfilled by two languages called R programming and Python programming. This R programming is so simple, you don't need to really write the way the logic is supposed to be written by the programmer. So a statistician can easily learn the R programming. It is as simple as that I typing 1 plus 2 equals to, automatically my R code will give me 3 programming. I don't write any code. I simply type 1 plus 2. Automatically my R user interface will respond to me with the answer 3. It is that simple. Same case with the Python. It is that simple. Because of the evolution of these two languages, what do you mean by evolution? R is a statistical programming language. Python is there for right from 2000. Okay, I coded in 2001 in Python. There it was not the same thing what was there in data science. There are 3 libraries in Python which made this subject so simple. Okay, NumPy, Pandas, Matplotlib. These are the 3 libraries which made this Python very easy for the people to learn, especially by the statistician. Similarly, the programmers in the development side do not know anything about statistics, but this particular R and Python languages are able to give you the function level functions, commands, which can be used, thereby you can do the coding the way you want it. You can use the statistics the way you want it. Because of these two languages, the whole world has turned into upside. Okay, so it is now everybody started looking into this one, and for last 5 to 6 years, there is a tremendous growth that happened. There is a tremendous growth happened in this area, because of which data science has come into the limelight. Data science has come into the limelight because of this. Then people started fighting who is great. Is the data scientist is great or statistician is great? Both. Still today there is a fight going around. Statistician always starts on the data. He expects the data to be given by someone else. Whereas the data scientist collects the data. That is the difference. In case of data scientist, he collects the data for the business problem that you are solving, whereas the statistician always asks the data to the customer for the problem that he is looking at, he is trying to solve. These two approaches are significantly different. They are significantly different because collection of the data is the challenge. This collection of the data here, this is the biggest challenge everywhere. Because of this challenge, there is a split that occurred between the statistician and the data scientist. And also there is a split that occurred between the business analysts or business intelligence teams, BI teams. Data science is one level above the business intelligence, BI teams. But argument is continues forever. People keep fighting around this. We don't need to bother about the whole thing. However, I just wanted to show you something like this. You might have heard about DMart. Nowadays, this is a retail store. Okay, this is this is founded by Radha Kishan Damani. His brother is my close friend. Okay, so Radha Kishan Damani started a DMart in 2002 in Mumbai. It's a retail store. When he started, he never expected that his business is to go to be a very big successful model, right? So now he became very successful. lots of hundreds and probably hundreds of outlets are there across India. Wherever you go, people are able to see these chain stores where lots of products are available, lots of outlet, lots of employees, many suppliers, many manufacturers, all are plugged into this supply chain management link. In this one, suppose I'm asking you guys, okay? Suppose you are the person, suppose you are the person who owns this particular DMart. Please respond in the chat window. What kind of a parameter that you are interested in? I'm asking this question. I'm asking the question to all of you, my dear friends. Please respond. Please respond. If you are the owner of the DMart and you have the branches across India, what kind of a parameter that you are interested in to know about your business on a daily basis? I'm asking the question. Sales, wonderful. What else? Discounts, sales, discounts, what else? Profit, wonderful. Number of customers per day. So customers per day. Marketing, customer satisfaction. Okay, marketing, customer satisfaction. What else? Enhancement. Okay. So multiple stores are there. As a owner of the business, what is that you are trying to understand? Easiness, ideas to grow more and more. These are all fine, but end of the day, you are a businessman. Money matters, numbers matters a lot for you. What kind of numbers that you look for? Profit from various locations, exactly. Not only the overall profit, location-wise profit. Right? Now, also you will have average sales per store or per location, number of products, or how many less moving products, how many fast moving products, what is the inventory that I'm maintaining it, what is the maximum sale happened in the location, why that location made a maximum sales that happened. What is the loss? There may be some store that may be seeing the losses. These are the various parameters that you are basically looking into. These are the various parameters that you are looking into. Can I sum these things into something, right? If I really look at it, this average sales per store, okay, and your sales, your profit, you are interested in what is an average, on an average, how much money I made it from Telangana. On an average, how much sales that my stores have made in Andhra. How many sales that happened from Maharashtra, something like that. Average profits, everything talks about average. So all these averages, I will be linked to something called your mean, median. These are the two terms which I will be correlate to: mean, median. Mean, median. Right? Now I want to compare between the two elements, between the two locations, location 1 and location 2. From Hyderabad, I will compare how much sales that are happening in Hyderabad, how much sales that I'm happening in Amaravati. The sales comparison between the two capitals. So I wanted to really discuss about this. I wanted to compare this. When I wanted to compare, you have kind of a data. So you need to basically, the comparison you want to do with respect to location 1 to the location 2 sales point of view, I am more interested in something called standard deviation. I am more interested in something called variance. How much is the variance is happening with respect to one store to another store, with respect to one product to the another product. When you map these parameters to something like this mean, median, mode, standard deviation, variance, or whatever you are talking about, these are all called as descriptive statistics. These are all called as descriptive statistics. Statistics is divided into two parts. One is descriptive statistics, meaning these parameters describe the business. These parameters describe the information that describes about what's happening in your business. The second one is inferential statistics. Out of the descriptive statistic parameters that I got in, can I predict my future? Diwali is coming down the line. Maybe Vinayaka Chauthi is coming up. Ganesh Chaturthi is coming down the line in the August. So all certain religion communities are going to buy the clothes. So as if I order my apparels upfront right now, maybe it is cheap right now. Rather than ordering in the month of August, if I order right now, I can get a good deal. As a businessman, I have to make that kind of a call. If you don't make that kind of a call, then you are in trouble. You may be successful, but you are not an efficient businessman. How do I know all these things? That is your inferential statistics. The future prediction is your inferential statistics. The current analysis or post-mortem of the data from your business is your descriptive statistics. Futuristic perspective is your inferential statistics. So this is about the terminology that you listen in the data science field, especially in this in the data science. Now the question may come in, Hari, you are saying all these things. Can you really define me what exactly the data science is? What exactly the data science means? So there are many definitions to data science. There are many definitions. Okay. So what those decisions, you don't need to bother about different definition, but most appropriate or apt decision, which I found it in the Wikipedia, which I really love it. Okay. This is what it is. What is this? This is, look at this, the final definition of data science. Final definition of data science. Very beautiful statement. It is an interdisciplinary field. Data science is an interdisciplinary field that uses scientific methods, processes, systems, and algorithms to extract the knowledge and insights from both structured and unstructured data. Beautiful statement given in your Wikipedia. Fantastic. And this is the apt definition of the data science. It is an interdisciplinary field. It is not a one science or one field. It is a science that connects multiple fields. What are those multiple fields? Scientific, and there are many fields like various domains, statistics, programming, visualization. These are all different fields. In these fields, it is connecting these fields using these four processes, these four methods: scientific methods, processes, systems, algorithms. What is the scientific methods? Scientific methods will give you tremendous importance to the accuracy. So I did my master's degree after my completion of mechanical engineering from KLC. I went to BITS Pilani Mesra Ranchi, and I got an admission into master's degree, my MTech in machine design, because that's my favorite subject in mechanical engineering. But after went there randomly, I attended for one more level of group discussion and the interview process, where I was selected into space engineering and rocket technology. So when I got into this, and I did my engineering, my master's degree in space engineering and rocket technology. Oh, my specialization within that, my specialization was aerodynamics. This is something very crazy. Okay, you first of all, aerodynamics is a subject which you are trying to study something which you can't see with your naked eye. That's the beauty. And tremendous mathematics, huge advanced mathematics. Oh, such a big terms in the mathematics you have to solve, and then you have to come up with those big equations in order to understand the dynamics of air. So one fine day I was working in the supersonic wind tunnels, and one fine day something happened because of which I was blown out. Because in my supersonic wind tunnel, the speed of the wind is going to be 2 times the speed of the sound. So my professor is a great man. I really hats off to my professor. I owe to him in my entire life. Dr. Jagadish Narayan Mishra is one of the second popular scientists in turbulent field. Oh, he did some mistake because of which I was blown out in the supersonic wind tunnel. Thanks to God, God saved me that day. Later on, it stuck to me that why it happened. So I went on digging. Why? Finally, it resulted into a new thing for which I got a patent. Then I took it so light. I said, maybe it's my level. I'm trying to find something. Maybe it satisfies my ego or whatever it is. But over a period of time, my professor suggested me, why don't you write a letter to Abdul Kalam? So I wrote a letter to Abdul Kalam, giving the complete scenario about what it is and how this works and everything. All of a sudden, after 5 days, when I was working in the rocketry lab, suddenly I heard a voice, bravo my boy. I really turned back, and I was so surprised to see Abdul Kalam standing in front of me. I was like stunned. I didn't expect that he will respond and he will come to the college. So he came and he asked me what happened. Again, I took about 2.5 hours to explain him the whole situation around and everything it went through. And finally, he didn't say anything. He called my professor and he immediately wrote a check and gave. He gave 5 crores check to the college, and he told my professor and Aditya Birla, who was accompanied him, he said, get this boy work on this particular field. So that resulted into some invention, and finally it has been now put into this, because of which beryllium element is used in the 3rd stage of the rocket. That's a different story. But what I'm saying is, in the scientific methods, accuracy is very important. Even a slightest mistake which resulted our mission failure that happened to our Mars while landing up. So scientific methods are very much interested in accuracy. Similarly, data science is very much interested in accuracy. Processes for everything and anything. Process is something very important aspect which remove the dependency of the people. Any system you want to build, you have to build it with a system in such a way that the process is very important aspect. For example, a president of America, anybody whichever idiot like Trump also gets into this position, they are imbibed by the processes. They may talk nonsense things outside, but end of the day, they behave like a world leader, because the job of that profile is defined, but very clearly defined by the processes. Processes will remove the dependency of the being, of a person being over there. This is the actual problem in many companies or many places, because people want to remove their dependency all the time. People don't want to remove the dependency all the time. So processes are very important to ensure the accuracy level that has to bring in through using the scientific methods. And these two has to be automated using certain algorithms. Once it is automated, if you want to make the automated algorithm to run and behave the way it's supposed to behave, you need a system. So all these 4 things put together, the data science is actually connecting these 4 or many other fields and extract the knowledge and insight from both structured and unstructured data. Structured data, What is the structured data? Any data that gets into the database is a structured data. What is unstructured data? Any image file, any audio file, any video file. They're all any text, a free flow text. They're all unstructured data. The business intelligence teams, they derive the information from the data and they plot the graphs and different pictures. That is how they are. That is how they are with respect to business intelligence. Whereas the data science, it takes out the hidden information sitting inside the data, which is not capable by the business intelligence systems. That is the major difference. That is where the whole story of the data science is changed completely. The dimension is completely changed. Having said this definition, if I take you to this terminology, look at this terminology. Artificial intelligence is one big umbrella under which data science is the second, is a subset of that. Then data mining is a further subset of data science. Machine learning is a further subset of data mining, and deep learning is a further subset of machine learning, and the reinforcement learning is the smallest circle within the AI or subset of deep learning is your RM. Okay, so this is the jargon which you guys are trying to learn. You guys are able to make, you guys are trying to know about these things. You can go down and deep down, and then you can do many things. You can learn many things about it. However, the question may come into our mind: what should I learn if I really want to enter into this area? Okay. So this is the skill set that you are expected to know. One is you need to know the statistics, you need to know the machine learning, you need to know the technology, you need to know the domain, you need to know the mathematics. What are the various topics that you need to know? You need to know are listed down here. In case of statistics, you are expected to know descriptive analytics, inferential statistics. In case of machine learning, you will be knowing supervised learning and unsupervised learning. In case of technology, you need to know R and Python, SQL and Hive, data visualization, Hadoop, Spark and Scala. Domain, you may belonging to any domain. When it comes to the mathematics, you need to know matrices. You need to know matrices, algebra, probability, coordinate geometry, calculus, and little bit of trigonometry. If you know these things, good enough. You will become a wonderful data scientist. You will become a well-known data scientist if you really take the control of this skill set with you. Okay. So with that said, I would like to stop, and rather I wanted to take you to an example. Before I move on to the example, any questions if you have, I would like to handle the questions. Please put your question in the chat. I will pause for a minute. Any question? Difference between AI, DS, and ML. Okay. Another question is, any resources from your guidance to learn the Spark and Scala? Okay. Yeah. See, in order to know the Spark and Scala, you need to know Python. If you look into the Spark, 80% of the Spark is your Python. 80% is Python, 20% its own customized coding, which is put together called as a Spark. Scala is another powerful language which is going to replace Java very soon, and it is taking over Java. However, nothing can beat Java because Java is the mother of all the languages right now. In the industry right now, whatever the technology expansion it is happening around, if you don't know Java, you are a handicapped person for sure. So you need to know Java anyway. Java and MySQL, you can't bypass it. On top of that, looking at the Spark and Scala, you don't need to really go anywhere else or you try to learn anything. You get into any YouTube or Udemy course of Spark, that is good enough. It's pretty easy. If you know Python, Spark, you can learn it in a day. One day is more than enough. That simple. Okay. Difference between AI and DS and ML. So machine learning is a subset of your data science. What is this machine learning? Machine learning is, for example, suppose I will ask you to close your eyes and find out what kind of a fruit that you are eating. So I'm going to put a banana in your mouth. You are closing your eyes and you just took a bite of banana and then you will tell what fruit it is. How do you think your brain is able to detect that it is a banana? During your childhood, when your mother first time fed the banana to you, there was a kind of a confusion in your mind. What this? Then your mom told, this is banana. So the banana picture gets stored in your brain and banana word is associated to the picture. And your mind processes this behind the scene. Meaning, from the data, your mind is learning. Similarly, if any machine learning, any algorithm, given the data, it should identify the object as a banana, then that algorithm is called as your machine learning algorithm. How this machine learning algorithm is able to detect the banana? Because it is a non-living thing. It doesn't know the taste, but it will identify how the shape of the banana is going to look like. What is the color of the banana it is going to look like? What is the pulp of the banana it is? So the information that it is stored in the form of the variables, the variable is length of the banana, color of the banana, shape of the banana. So these are the parameters, these are the data. So from this data, if your algorithm is able to learn, and then once it is able to learn and then get the identification of the object saying that it is banana. That is your machine learning. You are making your algorithm to learn from the data and identifying the banana. Tomorrow, some other banana comes into the one, automatically your algorithm is able to detect that it is a banana only. That is your machine learning. But how are you going to make the algorithm to learn that as a banana? The science behind that is your data science. What is this data science? How is the data science actually is having the intelligence of this detecting the banana is your artificial intelligence. Hope I made it clear to you, Arvind. Okay, what is the predictive analytics? Mechanical engineering outdated now. Why not ML is merged with mechanical engineering? Absolutely yes. It is not outdated, my dear friends. Mechanical engineering never gets outdated. Now, there is a person. He is a chief of data science department in Google. He lives in US. He's an Indian, and he started a new company in Bangalore with 100 data scientists in Bangalore. There is no name to the company. They are going to name the company next year. Their goal is to automate the entire mechanical industry in next 5 years. This goal was given to him by Modi, and this guy is doing that behind the scenes for you to just make you understand what it is. There is going to be a tremendous change that is going to happen in the mechanical engineering field because most of the activities are going to be done by robots. Already numerical controlled machines are already available, which are automatically doing many things in the industry. The numerical controlled machine taken one above using this machine learning algorithm, which is an artificial intelligence to that, which is going to give a a great edge to the mechanical engineering field. India is going to change in the next 5 years tremendously, whether you like it or not, whether you believe it or not. So it is going to happen. So what are the trump cards of the data science which are perfectly suited for the current scenario? The perfectly suited current scenario is your neural networks. The trump card of the data science now, as on today, if you ask me, sir, it is neural network, because the machine learning algorithms, especially in the financial industry, pretty much matured. Machine learning algorithms in the pharmaceutical industry is now upcoming up. Civil industry, it is upcoming. Electronics also, it is upcoming. Electrical system is the next game. In power systems, if you really look into the power systems of your master's degree, this is where the data science will come into the picture, especially the neural networks part. So since the world is heading toward the non-conventional energy resources, the whole thing is getting renovated, and now so much of importance is given to the deep learning. Now everywhere you go, people are taking the buzzword of deep learning, deep learning, deep learning. Now the reinforcement learning is also picking up. For all these things, Python is the base. If people do not know Python, nothing that they can do anything much in data science field. Whether they know R or not doesn't matter, but if they don't know Python, they can't do anything much about it. So the trump card is focus more on the predictive analytics of machine learning and the data science, and the deep learning part, neural network, especially image processing and the language NLP, natural language processing is a buzzword now, because nobody wants to type. Rather, we want the systems to listen our command, our voice, and act based on the command that we are going to give verbally. So the tremendous focus is happening around. So now, earlier there was a huge challenge with respect to handling this data, especially the textual data or verbal data. When one of the company translated this 174K words of dictionary, someone made a database of that. Digitally, they made the database of 174K words, and they also know the rules of the grammar, English grammar. Using these two combinations, multiple algorithms have been built by the data scientists, which is actually making this happening. A Google Siri, or there are many voice recognized control systems have been developed, and which is going to change the whole scenario. Which is going to change the whole scenario in the world. Next 5 years, the world is going to change dramatically. Even when it comes to the colleges, now online degree is going to be a reality, and the companies are going to really recognize the online degrees. I mean, degree is basically just a placeholder for someone to say, okay, this guy may having some level of knowledge, I can use this guy's skill. But in reality, when you get into the job, what you do may or may not match what you learned in your degree. So rather, the world is now moving toward the capability-based hiring rather than degree-based hiring, which will result in next 10 years, you will not find much importance to any engineering colleges. Whether we like it or not, that's the reality. World is heading towards that. That means sitting here, I can attend to a professor's lecture in the Massachusetts Institute of Technology in the US. And I can learn on that one. I can write some kind of a coding, or so I can develop something in that particular subject that I can showcase to the companies, and company will offer me the job. It is heading towards that. So all the degrees will lose the importance go forward in next 10 years because of data science. That's why I said sometimes it really scares me a lot where we are heading. I strongly feel we are heading towards the annihilation. But anyway, that's the different game. Okay. So moving further, the question, how your journey lead to data science, sir, from aerodynamics in brief, if possible, please tell. Okay. So my journey into the data science landed up when I was in Wells Fargo. So we wanted to conduct a study of how how many employees are really sitting in the cafeteria? Because every time, whenever we walk around, because our cafeteria used to be in the 11th floor, and whenever I walk into the 11th floor, I see many people will be sitting in the cafeteria. So we wanted to really do analysis. So what we did is we put a swipe in and swipe out device to the entry and exit of cafeteria, 11th floor. So until unless you swipe your ID card, the door will not open. Then you know the data, you have the data. Now we can easily study what these guys are. Then we figured out when I went and collect the data and started working on the data, and then I plotted the data. There was many surprising facts came out, which I went and presented to my managing director, Avik Mukherjee. He was like, "Oh my goodness, Hari, I didn't believe this." I said, "This is the data." Then we brought in some wonderful, beautiful rules in between, and then we made sure that their productivity is again significantly picked up in the projects. Anyway, so that is a trigger event for me to build to start building up interest in this data science field, and then slowly I started reading the books. Then I met one wonderful guy, a wonderful professor called Sir C.V. Rao. He's the father of Indian modern mathematics. Then I met his disciple, and then this guy is a very knowledgeable in data science. I picked up the subject from them, and then I started using my subject with the various people, and then I went into Triple IT. I did my post-graduation diploma in data science with R and Python and deep learning, NLP, and then I know AWS, Azure, all those technologies. So that's how my career started there. But anyway, that's a different story. Career is a career. With that said, can I take you to a small example of what is the flavor of this inferential statistics? Descriptive statistics, anyway, I gave you the flavor. Inferential statistics, I'm going to give you the flavor now. So I'm getting into an Excel. Hope you guys are able to see my screen. Anyone can please confirm that you are able to see this, my Excel, my spreadsheet? Wonderful. Thank you.
Yes, sir. It's visible.
Yes, thank you, sir. So here is the data. So it has, let us assume that how many records? So 20,000 records are there. So column A is having 20,000 records. I'm assuming in Telangana we have only 20,000 people across. This is an assumption. This is a disclaimer saying that the population of Telangana is only 20,000. Now, having said this 20,000 people over here, now you are a commissioner of police. You are a commissioner of police. As part of the election campaign, our beloved Chief Minister, Mr. KCR, announced that he wants to create many jobs for the youth. So KCR called you. You are the commissioner of police. He wanted to announce a posting in the newspaper for the sub-inspector of police job. Sub-inspector of police, SI. For SI post, they wanted to release a notification. Now, you can't simply go and release the notification just because Chief Minister told. There should be some eligibility criteria that we have to define, right? Now you are the person, as a commissioner of police, come up with the eligibility criteria. Okay. Now, what kind of a criteria that you are going to put is the question. This is your business problem. Okay. So what is that you are going to do? This is SI post. So eligibility criteria. The first one is the whole state division happened because of this sentiment only. You are a Telangana guy. So you are a citizen of Telangana. So you are a Telanganite, I can call it as. Telangana, the nativity is one of the primary rule. Second one, you should be graduated, you should be a graduate. Third one, you can define many things like this. But end of the day, suppose you go with this kind of a criteria to KCR, and KCR suddenly decides, no. I wanted to have an opportunity for, let's say, out of 20,000 people, I want to give the opportunity for 5,000 people. You can't come back and again change this whole criteria again. So there should be some criteria factor which will allow you to play the numbers accordingly, as the Chief Minister is going to say. So what is the criteria? The criteria is height is one criteria. What is the height? So generally the job of SI is supposed to catch the thief. So ideally, if a person is a taller, the length between one step to the another step is a little larger. So that means if we have the taller people as a SI, it is beneficial all the time. But tell me how many people are really tall enough? Not many. So he may not be able to get the 5,000 people. So your commission, as is a commissioner of police, you have outsourced this task to someone else. That someone else like me. So you have outsourced the whole problem to me to come up with a recommendation of the height. What is the height recommendation? Now let us look into this spreadsheet. In this Excel, 20,000 records are there. This is the whole population's height data. Is it practically possible? My question to all of you. Is it practically possible? It is not. Practically, it is not possible to collect the data of all these people because it requires a lot of time. It requires a lot of money to capture the height of the people. And there are so many other variants are available, or uncertainties are available, because of which you cannot measure the height of the people. If this is called the whole population, what 20,000 or 20 lakhs or 20 crore doesn't, I don't know. It is called as population. A term, I use the term in the data science, a term which we use is population is one term. Out of this, you have given contract to me. So I know as a Kishore, I have to go and collect the data and give the height recommendation to the Commissioner of Police, which is you. I can't do this. Practically, it is not possible for me. So what I do, I went out, I selected these 23 people's data. Okay, I measured their height. This 23 people's data is called as sample. Sample is always part of your population. Remember, sample is always part of the population, or a portion of a population is a sample. Population is a complete data, the whole data. In real world, it is not practically possible. You assume this is the population data. This is a fundamental principle of assumption in the data science. In reality, practically, it is not possible to measure the population data, period, over. Suppose if I have this data collected from the population, out of all these things, tell me which height that you want me to recommend. Please respond in the chat. Which height you want to recommend? Anyone would like to respond in the chat? Someone said 5.8. Okay. How did you say that? Average. That's a very good step, Venkat. Average. You want to look at the average. So this is the average. Average is 171.776. I wrote a formula here. Average E2 to E3, this one. Your average is 171.766. I'll take the Srinu. Srinu also, you as a commissioner also given a contract to Srinu. Why should I listen to Hari? Why should I listen to Kishore? I will listen to someone else also. So Srinu went and collected some other sample randomly. He collected some other sample, and I'm pasting it here. When he collected some other sample, right? When he collected some other sample, look at this. His average, Srinu's average is 172, whereas my average is 171. Tomorrow, some other person will come and do the average. He will get some other number. Now tell me, out of all these numbers, which number you will give it to Commissioner of Police? Performance and all that secondary. Right now, we are talking about height. Which number that you are going to propose to Commissioner of Police as a recommendation for the height? Someone said median. John said median. Someone said height average. Okay. Overall average means averages of averages. Right? But will that satisfy? End of the day, guys, when you are defining some height, it is an opportunity that someone is desperately waiting for the sub-inspector of police job, but the height which you are recommending, he may not be having it. He will be really wounded. Or there are many scenarios are possible. Whenever you are recommending anything, what is the impact of your recommendation is another dimension you need to really put in your head when you are a data scientist. Another important aspect. What number that has to be suggested to the police is decided by a concept called inferential statistics. That is the subject which you are going to learn. Not this number, not this number. Some other number you will recommend, but that some other number, how did you arrive at that some other number? Is called your inferential statistics. That means from the sample, you estimate the population data, you estimate the population parameter. What is the population parameter? Here I will write an average of this. Average of my population data is this. Average is 169, whereas Kishore 171, Srini 172. But if I know everybody's data, all the population's data, and then I will calculate this value. This value is a constant. Remember, any parameter, any metric related to the population are called as parameters. Parameter meaning it is a constant. This value does not change. 169 value does not change. That is fixed. But unfortunately, you don't know that value. Whereas a sample, you know the values. You know these values. They are called as variables. Your averages of a sample is a variable. Why variable? It is Kishore average is 171, Srinu average is 172. Because it is variable, that means it keeps on changing based on the sample that you collect. This is called as statistic. This is called statistic. Statistics is the variable, statistics is a variable. That means it keeps changing. Whereas a parameter is related to the population, doesn't change. It is a constant. Fundamental difference of the whole subject of data science. If you don't have the clarity of this, you may be a great scientist, but you are useless. You don't know anything about data science. This is the fundamental difference of your data science. Okay? So this is your inferential statistics, my dear friend. Having said this, I would like to stop the session because I can talk n number of hours on this subject because this is my favorite topic and favorite subject. So I would like to stop it here because now we are almost 1 minute less with our time because I'm supposed to close the session by 12. Any questions? I would like to take it. Otherwise, I hand over to our wonderful sirs at the KLC side.
Yeah, fine, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Participants, we have any queries related to data science concepts? So just unmute yourself. We will assign the rights to all the participants. If you are unmute yourself and answer, ask to float to Harkishore Garu.
Sir, good morning. This is Dr. Saraswati from Department of MBA, sir, Yale University.
Wonderful, madam.
Sir, thank you so much for giving us a wonderful session today. And as you said, basically, I have a certain kinds of doubt whether I can able to excel in the area of analytics or not. But your session has given me a kind of confidence that to some extent I can able to. And basically, I'm HR person, sir. But since last 3 years, I'm dealing with business analytics with focusing on R. So my doubt here is that whether mere learning of R is okay in terms of entering into the analytics area, or
Absolutely, madam.
do I need to learn Python also?
Being a MBA person and being in the HR analytics dimension, it is extremely important for you to improvise the effectiveness of the resume that you are providing for any interview. Any manager raises any position to the HR person, and if you are able to provide a gunshot resume to the manager who is hiring that position, you are saving your time, company's time, and everybody's time, which is a fantastic scenario right now. HR analytics is another wonderful, flourishing subject, and which is coming up very much right now. R programming is very useful for you. If you are simply bang on to R programming, that is sufficient for you in your career. Until unless you want to pursue to the higher level, you want to go to the further deeper level, saying that I wanted to predict what will happen to my organization's people in next 5 years. How do you want to evolve them from a skill set perspective from today to the next 5 years? If you want to really get there, then you need to jump into the Python dimension. Otherwise, if you, as of now, from an industry standpoint of view, if you look at the HR analytics standpoint of view, your R programming is good enough for you.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much, sir, for clarifying me doubt. And thank you for
No
the
problem.
wonderful session.
So any other question? So data scientist, which type of courses I should learn, sir? See, anybody where somebody is teaching you the statistics domain, that is the right company to where you should learn. If somebody teaching you R and Python, that is not at all a good organization to learn the data science. Let me tell you very clearly. Unfortunately, in the industry, data science means Python. Data science means R. People only teach R and Python in many institutes. You are unnecessarily getting cheated by that, because neither they also don't know. They also think that it is R and Python is the data science. No, statistics is the data science. Why statistics is data science? It collects the data, it analyzes the data, it generalizes the data, and then it reports the data. Then it is called as a data science. Data science means it is statistics. Statistics principles, you convert them using your R and Python. That actually enabled the whole world to really pick up the momentum in the data science field. That is why in the last 5 to 6 years, this subject has got a tremendous insight and gain across everywhere, and that's where the artificial intelligence started flourishing. Artificial intelligence, oh my goodness, when I studied in 1988-92, I have my friends who talked about the neural network. Neural network, artificial intelligence, that time itself. It's not a new subject. Artificial intelligence took a next level because of the data science and because of R and Python.
Participants, any other questions from your end? Otherwise, we will wind up the session.
Yeah, sir,
One-
Saraswati
yeah.
here again from
Tell me.
Department of MBA, sir.
Mhm.
I think I have more questions rather than
Go ahead, madam.
this particular department.
Go ahead.
Maybe my questions might be silly. Sir, we are looking for internships for the students in the area of analytics. So maybe if you could able to give me your mail ID and contact number, so that you can refer our students for internships in the area of analytics. Because here in Vijayawada and Guntur, we are not finding much of organizations which are working on analytics area. You know it very well. So it is becoming very hard for us to place the students for internships. So if you could able to suggest some of the organizations so that we can approach them and get internships or summer projects placements for them. So that
Sure,
would be
madam.
viable.
Actually, the same question came in even for SR University in Warangal. So I teach them for MBA students, I teach them the business analytics over there. So problem here is students are expecting some kind of a money in the internship, which is not the scenario. The companies don't mind to pay the money, but the problem here is this particular data science subject is not, it's something unique. So you need to bring the people up to the speed in the statistics dimension.
Hello?
And yeah, am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So in this particular domain, what happens here is students should know the statistics. So companies have to invest their time to bring up these students up to the speed in the statistics domain. And then they will be able to put them into the use for their own projects or whatever. So during the internship, most of the time goes only in the training part, because the internship may be standing for about 2 to 3 months time frame, which is a very small time for a data science perspective. So if the students are willing to do the internship for free of cost, many companies will come forward, because today finding the talent of good data scientist people is really very tough. So I actually started doing that. I actually take the people onto my side. I will ask them to connect in this. I train them for almost 4 to 5 months. I train them in the data science. And then I will give them to the, and then I will pass on them to the companies, and many companies will come forward and take them, because they already know the whole mechanics of data science.
Yes. Okay. So
Yeah,
maybe
and
then if that is the case, sir, what is the possibility or scope for management students?
there are a lot of possibilities. Oh, plenty of possibilities are there.
Okay, because they may not be good at a mathematical area, but they might be good at statistics on the functional areas like marketing, domain area
Yes,
of
madam.
management. So
Yes, ma'am. If you ask me, learning the R program, it will hardly take about 6 hours. 6 hours, I will become master in R. For Python, it hardly takes about 15 hours lecture. 15 hours lecture will make the person really good at Python. But good at statistics is something, it's very, very important.
Yeah.
Moreover, if people want to become a very good data scientist, they should know matrices algebra. If they don't know matrices algebra, they are nothing but, they will not be used anywhere else. They are like, no, not at all useful to the company.
Okay.
So they need to focus on that. That is the area, if at all you are able to focus on the matrices algebra in your college, it's a phenomenal value add to the student. Phenomenal value add to the student.
Okay, sir. Maybe I'll take your contact number and email from the head of the department of CSC.
No problem.
So then I can able to contact you, sir, for further queries and.
Sure, I can help you.
Thank you so much, sir. Yeah, thank you so much, sir.
You are welcome, madam. So one question,
madam,
program.
sorry to say that, sorry to interrupt you. This program is conducting by Department of ECS, madam, Electronics and Computer Science, not CSC.
Oh, okay. Thank you, sir. I forgot it actually. I thought it is from
ECS.
Right?
This program is conducted by ECS.
Okay.
So the way of interaction with all the participants and the clarifications with all the doubts patiently is really appreciable. Sure. I'm very much thankful to you on behalf of Department of ECS, and I'm very much happy and satisfied about this particular wonderful session from you. And, the kind of same kind of these webinars or the training programs are also we are expecting from you and your organization also. On behalf of Department of ECS and convening this thanks accepting our invitation to contribution. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. I'm more than delighted for giving me this opportunity, because this is my college. I studied in this college.
Hello. Hello.
Yes, madam.
Yes, ma'am, you are audible.
Sir.
Tell.
Yeah, good afternoon, sir. Sir, can you share your email ID, sir?
Participants, I will share the details of the trainer as well as mail ID to you after this session, along with your certificate. Within 2 days, you will get all the details. So recorded
Okay.
session of this link also will send to you.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you.
Sir, I have some queries. Can I post in the form of the chat, sir? How, sir? Because sir was talking about R language. Because I am doing in Python language. So some queries related
Yeah,
to
ma'am.
this language.
Yeah, ma'am. Post your question in chat window, ma'am.
Okay, okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Participants, so this is the last question. Maybe we'll wind up our session at 12 o'clock. Hardly it is 12:10. So we will expect in future we will also conduct faculty development program maybe within 1 week or 2 weeks. We will schedule the event with the help of GNV IT Solutions as well as Harikishore Garu. So at that time we will discuss all the questions. I will share all the details of Harikishore Garu and mobile number also.
So answer to this question is which one is better, R and Python? So there is a question, sir. So my suggestion to you,
Yes, sir,
madam.
you will continue.
Yeah, my suggestion is continue exploring Python because Python is a full-fledged language, and moreover, Python is an object-oriented programming language as well as structured programming language, whereas R is only a structured programming language. R is dedicatedly, explicitly used for statistics, whereas Python not only for statistics, you can build a full-fledged application like Java. So better to learn Python rather than R. But if you are in the HR analytics or finance analytics or MBA student, then you better learn R because that's all you require. You don't do any extensive programming in your career. If you are an MBA student, you want to find out what is the effectiveness of a campaign that you have conducted recently. You don't need to learn Python. All you need to know is R. R is very simple there. So anybody can learn R. Even a third class student also can easily learn the R programming. So depending upon what you are looking for, your choice. However, the choice is Python is a better language to go with. So another question, which is important
Okay, thank you,
of
sir.
the programming or statistics to excel in the field of data science? That is what I answered. Is the Python will be a better. Okay, back to you, sir.
Yes, sir.
ఏంది వంది నాకు అర్థం అవ్వలేదు
Okay, sir. So we can sign off for today. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. It's my pleasure to be with my colleagues.
Thank you,
Yes,
sir. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. Good session, sir, actually. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for your wonderful session, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you all, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
So thank you very much, sir, for your wonderful lecture. So in data science, how it will be mapped to the real-time applications and real-world applications. So different possibilities and what are the languages are needed for data science and skill set needed for data science, how it will be mapped to the real-time applications. So thank you very much, sir, for your wonderful lecture. Even participants float multiple questions. So the way of your answers and everything, thank you very much for your support. So thank you I would like to thank you KLF management, Honorable President Koner Satyanarayan Garu, and Principal Garu, Pro Vice Chancellor N. Venkatram Garu, and administrative authorities of KLEF. On behalf of Department of ECS, I would like to say thanks to all the participants who are actively participated in this webinar, a national level webinar session, and your active participation and support. So with the help of your support and your participation, we would like to organize multiple events. In coming week, we will organize a webinar on cloud computing. So with the help, in association with GNV IT Solutions and SIMS Vizag. we will expect same participation from your end. So mostly we will in Dynama. So which topic is suitable to conduct the faculty development program? So with the support of Harikishore Garu and the way of presentation, we would like to confirm data science with either R language or Python language. We will conduct a faculty development program in association with GNV IT Solutions and SIMS. So thank you all who are the part of this wonderful webinar, including trainer and organizers as well as industry people. So thank you very much for your support, especially GNV IT Solutions management. I'd like to call Prasad Garu provide his valuable feedback. Prasad Garu.
Srinivas, sir is
sir.
not available. You can conclude it.
Okay, sir. So thank you all for your wonderful participation and active participation. So we'll convey all the details of the trainer as well as content and video content, YouTube channel link of our department, the content of data science. So you can revise your subjective knowledge. We'll share all the details. So certificate will send by end of this week. By Saturday, you will receive your certificates. Okay, whoever actively participated, whoever giving feedback, will send certificate to all the people. So thank you very much. So if you are having any doubts or clarifications, you will send me mail. Already will float the part information through mail. So you'll approach same mail for your clarification and doubts. So thank you all. Thank you. So have a great day. Thank you very much. Sagar sir, we will wind up.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. We will close the sessions.